Hey lovelies, the following video does include spoilers, so make sure to read the title of this video. If you haven't read those chapters, please press pause, read up, and I will be waiting for you when you get back. Guys, I can't tell you how much I love DM. I know that I've been saying this since we started Spark of the Everflame, but if there is a lover of DM Bellator, her name's Cassidy Robertson. I am so obsessed with her, and Luther, woof. Ugh, so sexy. Oh, he is so sexy. Okay, besties, this week we read chapters 1 to 10 of Glow of the Everflame, and it's giving queen energy, power struggles. We've got betrayal, bonding with mythical creatures, girlhood rebellion, and a slow burn so slow it is practically frozen. And Luther, I keep my promises courbois, testing my patience and my morals. Let's get into it, because DM is officially the Queen of Lumnos, whether she wants it or not. Hey guys, welcome back to Lore Book Club. I'm your host, Cassidy Robertson, and we started off Glow of the Everflame exactly where I wanted it. There's nothing worse than when you start the second book of a saga and it's like 6 months later. I'm like, no. I want to know the reaction of the insane cliffhanger that is at the end of book 1. So thank you so much, Penn Cole, because we got the entirety of DM spiraling out. DM Bellator wins Crash Out of the Year by running into that sea and being like, nah, I can find my flame root powder. Mama, it was months ago. But like, I get it. Imagine you think you're immortal and suddenly you have a shadow crown on your head and you're supposed to be like the queen of all descended immortals in your realm. Spooky. Teller was like the best baby brother in the world. He's trying to calm her down. He's like, no, babe, you are not hallucinating. This is real. She's having the crash out of the century. And then Lily shows up with the flowers. Bless her. I love her so much. Lily is like top dog in my books. She is so sweet. And she's like absolutely gagged, falls to the floor. And she's like, my queen. And I was like, freaking out. I hope I wasn't the only one that beginning chapter immediately dug its teeth into my shoulders and was like, we're going for a ride. Lily's also like, wait, you have gray eyes? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, Luther will know what to do with this. And I'm like, what does it mean to have gray eyes? Somebody tell me before I crash out and jump into the sea. DM immediately is like, I don't want this crown. Get it off of me. How do I get rid of it? And Teller's like, well, there's going to be the challenging ceremony. And she's like, okay, anybody can challenge and they'll just take the crown. And they're like, nah, babe, it's a fight to the death. The stakes are risen. And I'm eating it up. Lily offers her a cabin in the woods. Love Lily. And it's like the royal cabin. And she's like, well, because technically it's all yours now. Crazy. And for a split moment, DM thinks about all the good she could do with this crown. And I'm like, yeah. It's like your destiny, babe. Of course you're gonna be like, no, now that I'm humming it over and I'm like out of the sea, I'm gonna be queen. We're then at the cabin where we learn that the door to the cabin is sealed with a royal blood lock that will only open if you have royal blood. And she pricks her finger and the door opens. And I was like, that must have been so crazy for her, like to have that realization, like, oh no, this is real. This is literally real. She's like, you cannot tell Luther at all that I am here. What is happening? No way, Lily. And she's like, yeah, no worries. And what does my girl do? She goes straight to Luther. Good, because I needed to see him. I missed him. It's been like 3 pages and I'm like, where is he? She's sitting there, she's warming up her clothes by the fire, and she remembers something her dad said, which is, when all else fails, keep moving, I said to the empty room, echoing the command my father had drilled into me. If you cannot run, then walk. If you cannot walk, then crawl. Her dad set her up for success every step of the way. But when she has that thought about her dad, she also starts realizing the painful words she said to him and is absolutely regretting it. And she's like, how am I going to talk to him? As she is pondering what her life is going to become by the fireplace, she starts wondering if Luther is just going to kill her and not wait for the challenging ceremony. And I was reading that and I was like, baby, he loves you. That man loves you. Did you forget you kissed him like 4 hours ago? This is also crazy that this has all happened in like literally, 6 hours? She met the king, kissed Luther, walked home, fought Henry, dinner with daddy, got in a fight, became the queen. Sounds like a normal Tuesday for me. As she's sitting there, she also thinks of another thing of her dad said, which kind of relates to the one earlier, but he said, if you are outnumbered or overwhelmed, or if all seems lost, just keep moving onward until the very last breath. And I think that's foreshadowing, because I think something's gonna happen, and like, is she gonna die? I don't know. Spooky. I love her so much, and like I am so stressed about this series because it's just like so good to me. This is such a refreshing read, and anybody who is in like a romantasy book slump needs to read Spark of the Everflame, the entire saga. I'm so excited. She then is sitting there and she thinks, queen or not, I was still Diem Bellator. And a Bellator did not flee from a challenge merely because it scared them. Period. My girl. I love her. Diem also says, listen up, girly. I'm your queen. I command you not to tell Luther. So this is chaos that Lily tells Luther. But knock, knock, knock. Who's at the door? The prince himself, Luther Corbois. He's so hot. He's fuming. He's also like huffing and puffing at the door. He's got his sword unsheathed. And Diem is like, oh, he's not going to wait for the challenging ceremony and he's going to kill me. Okay. And she, for a minute, is like, I thought something was like growing between us that was something different than friendship. And she's like, I'm an idiot. And I'm like, oh, you're not though, because something is growing. And I think that you're fated mates. Aren't they though? They have to be mates. Ever since he was carrying her at the end of the last book to Eleanor, they have to be fated mates. I think she's my mate. Then Diem thinks, I braced my shoulders and raised my chin, even as the icy fingers of fear crept along my skin. I might be terrified, but I would die, perhaps literally, before I would let Luther Corbois see me cower. She is such a bad bitch. I just love her. She doesn't give a shit about no man. Do we also love her? Like, I'm not alone on this, right? Like, everybody is a Diem stan in the comments. Please let me know. Luther starts being like, how long have you known what you'll become? And she's like, I'm immortal. And he's like, you're lying to yourself. He also confirms that the only way to pass on the crown is through death. And Sore, our gorgeous mythical creature, is like losing the plot. She's searching for Diem and he's like, you need to come back to the palace because as soon as Sore smells you on me, because like we're in the same vicinity, she's gonna lose her shit and she's gonna try and find you. She's gonna get you anyway. So she's like, okay, whatever, I'll come with you, fine. And I'm like, makes sense, get out of that little cabin. But there's one horse. One horse, almost better than one bed in an inn because of the movement. I'm sick. They get on the horse and she's like in front of him and he is like right behind her, like on her neck. And she's like, he smelled like the forest. And I was like, as soon as a male main character smells like leather and a forest, he's endgame. He has to be. It's never the guy that smells like the beach. It ain't. It never is. It's always the minty, foresty leather lad that is going to be endgame. And no shocker here, that's Prince Luther. However, then she realizes that she recognizes the horse from Henry's story, and it's Luther's horse that ran over the mortal kid, and she's like, I'm gonna kill you. And she says, all I have to do is survive the challenging, complete the rite of coronation, and destroy the descended. So Diem is like, I'm gonna be queen and I'm going to ruin all of your lives. But also, I don't think it was Luther. I think it was Luther's horse that killed the kid, but I don't think it was Luther on horseback. I'm gonna guess it was like Aemon or something. I just think it's like a royal horse and it's not actually Luther's horse. Luther just happens to be riding said horse. Because my man Luther wouldn't kill no mortal child on the road. He just wouldn't do that. No. They arrive at the palace and she can feel the bond between her and Sore, and she like through the bond is like, Sore, come. And the creature is like, Rah! Oh my God, it was just so brilliant. Like, talk about an insane entrance. She's like never been royal at the palace and she walks in and just commands the room, and I'm like, that's my girl Diem. She just always knows what to do and when to do it. I just love her. She's so good. She very quickly realizes that Sore would do anything for her and would kill anyone at the drop of a hat, and she's like kind of, I don't know if she fears that commitment, but she's like very much aware that she has to be mindful of that commitment. Then she's like, okay, it's time to meet the royal family. They're all waiting, and Luther's like looks at her and she's like a rat bag and is like, we can rearrange this, and she's like, nah, let's do it now, it's fine. And I'm like, girl, go take a bath first, mama. You were just in the sea looking for your flame root. But Luther very quietly says before they enter the throne room, you saved my sister's life, and for that I owe you a debt that can never be repaid. Although I don't imagine you'll take it, allow me to offer you some advice that may save your own life. He paused, his tone darkening. Tell them as little as possible about yourself, your plans, your magic, and especially about your mother. What is up with her mom? Somebody please explain to me what is up with her mom. Like, do other people know about her mother? Like, why did she want to keep her away from the Descended? Like, obviously, I think Aurelia knew who Diem could become or suspected who she could become. But, like, she's technically just like a mortal healer. The fact that Luther is so adamant about not revealing who her mother is crazy. And I need to understand why. Like, I need to just finish the book today. She walks into the throne room and very quickly realizes that she made the wrong decision. She should have had a bath because everybody is dressed to the nines, looking amazing, waiting the arrival of their queen. And my girl looks like a sewer rat. God love her. There's also like hundreds of people there. I think she expected there to be like 15, and there's all of House Courbois is in this room awaiting her arrival. And I was just like, oh my God. Then Luther brushes her hand to calm her, and it's like a beat too long for it to be an accident. And I was like, thank you. I get butterflies whenever something between them happens. I love them so much. They like need to be endgame. I know I keep saying that, but if they're not endgame, I'm gonna lose the plot. Luther then says, Your Majesty, it is my honor to introduce my family, House Courbois. He gestured to the room. House Courbois, I present the heir to the crown, Her Royal Majesty, Diem Bellator, Queen of Lumnos, Realm of Light and Shadows. I am so excited, and I cannot wait to watch her become queen and how the royal image is going to like take shape around her, because she was a baddie as a mortal. She's going to be even more of a baddie as the Queen of Lumnos. Diem is then so angry. First off, she's been angry from the get-go ever since she stopped taking that flame root powder, but she's looking out amongst these hundreds of descendants that are bowing before her, and she thinks, my petty side wanted to leave them there and let them marinate in fear that their influence had come to an end. But if I wanted to dismantle the descendants' power on my own, I'd need to do it from within. For that, I needed them to trust me. For now. What is she going to do? Like, it's so good. This book is simply so good. I am so riveted by this storyline. I love it. Oh, she meets the parents of Luther. She meets the cousins. She meets a little bit of everybody. And she recognizes Alex and Taryn, who were the two that were at the burning building when House Bennett's artillery unit went on fire. I think she feels a little bit comfortable like recognizing those two. So she kind of feels like a little bit more calm, but she starts meeting every single person. It's getting a little intense. And then they're having a quieter moment and they're sitting and it's revealed that she's half mortal. And the reaction is as expected. Like, some people are like, oh, that's fine. Like, Taryn is like, technically we're all half mortal, half descended, because the Blessed Mother was with a mortal. Gareth, one of the brothers, we met a lot of people. I got a little overwhelmed. But he's like disgusted. But Luther is like, well, maybe what would be a good idea is for you to join House Courbois so that nobody asks any questions, because we can like pawn off that your dad was like a member of the Courbois, like one of our distant cousins. And Remus is like, everybody's got to keep this to themselves. And everyone's like, yeah. And he says, let me be clear, family. If you wish to have any hope of keeping your home, your titles, and your royal status, you will say nothing of this to anyone. Am I understood? And everyone's like, oh shit, yeah. And then you kind of realize that technically House Courbois could lose the position of being the royal family, which is crazy. So everybody definitely has like higher stakes then to the situation. Diem then talks to Lily, who's like so ashamed that she dogged her out to Luther, but she forgives her. And Lily's like, oh my God, you're like the best queen in the entire world. And I'm like, Lily, I love you. You're such a teen. And she is tasked with sneaking Teller into the palace. And she's like, oh, I sneak out all the time. And I just love that. Teenagers will be teenagers. Like, no matter descended, mortal, teenagers are gonna sneak out. Lily also says that if Diem would just give him a chance, Luther would actually understand her more than she gives him credit for. And I'm wondering why that is. Luther and her start having a bit of a spat in the corner of this ballroom, being like, you know your secret, stop lying, tell me. And she's like, I don't know the secret. So there's just like a miscommunication trope going on right now where I'm like, let's just talk. Let's just have a bit of a chat, because something about me, least favorite trope, miscommunication. Just have a conversation, please. I'm okay with like a little bit of miscommunication, but like once we're getting into like 3 books, 4 books, I'm like, let's just have a conversation and clarify what's going on, because all of this could be avoided, which thank God happens later. But then we meet Eamon, and he's one of Luther's cousins, and he gave me the heebie-jeebies. He's grim. He's a little bit of a gross one for me, like kissing her hand and being like, let's go for a walk. I'm like, nah. Pass. But Diem is better than me, and she knows how to play the game, and she's like, I love that. I get it. She agrees to go on a walk, but I think mostly to piss off Luther, which, kiss already. I know that you already did, but kiss again. Luther then is like, you need to stay in this like special wing because you can't protect yourself until you have your magic. And she's like, I don't have magic. And he's like getting so frustrated because like, baby girl, wake up. You're the queen of Lumnos. You have magic. You got magic, baby. Don't worry. You're going to be fine. You're going to figure it out. But you're being very naive to think that you don't have any magic. As they're walking back to their bedrooms, Luther and her are walking together, and they definitely have such like aligned lives. Like Luther was prepped from a very young age to take over the crown, and she was prepped from a very young age to be a healer. And they were on these paths that technically they should be happy for, but they weren't paths that they created themselves. It doesn't feel as good if it's not a path you created for yourself. And it's a really nice moment of like them actually having a conversation, which I really appreciated. She then is like, are you disappointed that you didn't get the crown? And she doesn't really believe him, but he does say, no, I'm not disappointed. I've always believed it's my destiny to serve the crown, not to wear it. And that means he thinks it's his destiny to serve Diem. Yeah, babe. Ooh, I love it. I just love it. It's so good. But honestly, the push and pull of Diem and Luther is starting to make me crash out because it's like, they're so good, and then they're horrible. They're so good, and then they're horrible. They're so good, and then they're horrible. And I'm like, let's just fall in love and have beautiful babies and rule Lumnos in a beautiful way. How about we do that? Maybe I'm the naive one. They then get in a tussle outside of their rooms, and they're like actually fighting. There's 4 guards watching this happen, and he's like got a knife to her throat. It is a mess. He's like, what are you gonna do? Trim my hair with that knife? Because it's one of like the normal ones. And then she realizes that she dropped Breck's knife earlier when they were kissing. Crazy. And he like puts it to his heart, and then he's got a knife on her throat, and it's all a fucking mess. And Luther says, if I wanted you dead, Your Majesty, you would already be dead. So good. They leave separate ways. She's like, what the heck just happened? Like, this is all too much. Everything with Luther is too much. And then Luther screams in the hallway at the guards, I should put all 4 of your heads on a pike for treason. I just assaulted the queen, and you cowards stood there and watched me do it. The next time someone lays a hand on her and you don't kill them where they stand, I'll carve out your eyeballs and feed them to the fucking hounds. It doesn't matter if it's me or the regent or blessed mother Lumnos herself. Do your damn jobs and protect our queen. I was gagged. I was actually gagged. And I was like, that's my man. That is Prince Luther. Because you know who wouldn't do that? Henry. Henry would be like, yeah, actually, like, I think that, like, maybe you were in the wrong. And I'm like, Henry, you bore me. When she's finally alone, she looks into the mirror, and it's the first time she actually sees the crown on her head. And she's like, oh, okay. I am chosen to be Queen of Lumnos. There's a knock on the door. It's Luther. Thank God. I love him. And he has brought like a big old satchel full of Fortosian steel knives. And he's like, by the way, I want to talk about that kiss. And she's like, slams the door. And I was like, no, like kiss again. I can't wait to see how their relationship develops. I am liking the push and pull. I don't know. It's like a roller coaster, and I just want them to be endgame. So it's just like you're waiting for them to end up together. And it's just that waiting game. And it's just, ooh, I just love it. Diem's in bed. She's fallen asleep. She's naked again. Slay. And she hears that somebody's in her room. She's like, I can't find my knife. Like, I've fallen asleep. And she is like listening to figure out where the person is. And then she pounces on them. And it's Eleanor. Eleanor is every bestie that everybody wants. I truly hope that she does not betray Diem, because Diem has a very challenging relationship with women. It feels like she doesn't have a lot of female friends. So this is like, for me, the first real female relationship and like girlhood moment. And I'm really happy for her. And as they're talking, having chats, she's putting on a dress for the first time. You also get a peek behind the curtain as to why she only wears pants. To begin with, she wanted to just be, the same as her brother. But then as she got older, it was more pride. And the one thing about Diem is she's very prideful and she's not going to go back on her word. But I think she felt really pretty in her dress. And I just like, oh, it was just a really delicate, lovely scene. And it's also very interesting to like learn that she is a little bit scared of her femininity, and that's going to be an interesting thing to like watch. Eleanor says then one of my favorite quotes, and she says, "Words can cut as deeply as a blade, you know. So can titles or influence or one's appearance, especially here at court. Some courbois refuse to even wear weapons because they think it makes them look weak. You don't need to have brawn in order to win a battle." And that is also like what her dad said when he said, if you can't be stronger, be smarter. So it's kind of cool that she's gained all this knowledge from Andre and it's being mirrored by her new relationship with Eleanor. Also though, when she got all dressed up and like they did her hair and she was like looking 10 out of 10, I was like, Luther is gonna see her and he is going to choke. And I can't wait for it. Eleanor then reveals that she like wants to be significant and that she knows everything, she knows everyone, and she's kind not like a spy, but she's like very in the know without like being loud about it. And so Diem officially has her first advisor, which I just love that she is surrounding herself with strong, beautiful, amazing women, because girlhood through and through. Eleanor and Diem are sitting in the garden, drinking wine, having like the best afternoon in the world. And she gets a little bit drunk, which per me, Eamon shows up to take her for a walk. Luther's like a shadow in the background being like, which like as he should, like make him beg a little bit. Good job, Diem. Eamon and her go for a walk, and I'm sorry, but he is such a slime ball to me. Like I don't like him at all. How he's like got her in his arm and he's like, "So you married?" And I was just like, he is every gross guy on a night out. So far, 0 out of 10 for Eamon. Not a fan of him. But he does reveal that there's going to be a ball. And he's like, "Are you betrothed? Because I want you to go with me." And she's like, "Oh, I don't want to go with him." So she's like, "Well, there's a guy named Henry. He's immortal." And he's like, he's got the tea now. And she's like, "I shouldn't have said that." But she's drunk. She's like a mess. And then he then reveals that Luther is responsible for the killing of all the half-mortal, half-descended children. She sees absolute fire red. Sore's about to kill Luther, and she's like, "Sorry, Sore, if anybody's gonna kill Luther Courbois, it's gonna be me." "No, you're not, babe. You're gonna fall in love with him. You better, or I'm gonna lose my mind." After she realizes that he is the one responsible for killing the half-mortal, half-descended children, there is no amount of water that could cool Diem off. She is on fire with anger. Like, she's been angry this entire book, really, ever since she stopped taking her flame root powder, but like this is next level. She runs into Lily, who's like, "I've got Teller. I didn't know where to put him because there's people everywhere." And she mentions somebody named Elric who can't keep a secret, so I'm going to keep my eyes out for him because I think he's going to be a little bit of a snake. But they go to the dungeons and there's Teller. Now she's so happy to see him and he's like, "Don't worry, like I'm doing research to how to get you out of this." And then she realizes that she can't find that point of her that doesn't want to be queen anymore, which is so interesting and expected, to be honest, because this is like her birthright. I just feel like this has always been her destiny and it's very hard to run away from fate. He's like, "Why are you in the palace?" And she doesn't dog out Lily. And Lily, I think that's just a really pivotal thing because I think there's going to be a lot of trust there. And I didn't think Lily was going to be like a big part of the story, but I think she's going to be actually very, very important. It's revealed that if the challenge happens, there's only one person that can compete against the crown. So it's not like that there's one challenger from 18 houses and they all go against her. The regent, which is Remus, is going to have to pick the strongest out of any of the challengers from the houses, and they're the ones that compete against the crown, and it's a fight to the death. And she's like, "Well, I could probably fight somebody," and they're like, "Nah, babe, it's magic only." And she's like, "I don't have magic." And I'm like, "Oh, just you wait, girl." Then you hear this voice. And it's like, "Little sister, if you wanted to have a secret meeting, then you should have closed the door. Luther's there." And Diem is angry when she sees him. Like, she is a powder keg about to explode. She is on fire. And she starts thinking about how she used to be lighter and nicer, and she wants to get back to that place. And she says, "Strength could be fueled by love just as easily as hate." And I think that's Diem through and through. So the fact that she's so angry is just so out of character for her, and she just has never been a person who operates like that. And it's like so confusing to her as to why she's so angry. Now, Luther is like, she's gonna explode. So he sends Teller and Lily away, and now it's them one-on-one. His magic is dancing around him. He reveals that they don't really use their magic in front of mortals because it can be like an uncomfortable thing to witness for mortals, which I don't really understand. So I'm hoping we get some more insight into that later on. But she is like so angry. She then reveals a little bit of her plan that she wants to destroy the Descended, and Luther says, "You would be wise, Your Majesty, to keep those thoughts well guarded. Even a queen can bleed." I love it when he calls her Your Majesty. But when he says that, she starts getting even more. It used to be fight, and now the voice is saying destroy. Like, she is so beyond angry. And he's like, "Tell me why you're so angry." She's like, not saying anything. "Tell me why you're so angry." And she's like, "You killed them." He's like, "Who?" And she's like, "The children." And she's like, "Do you deny it?" And they're like going back and forth. He's like holding his tongue. And then he's like, "Yes, I deny it." And I think he and Aurelia have been smuggling out majority of the half descended, half mortal children. I don't think he's killed any of them. I think that was their little side hustle together. She believes him, but like she's on 10 out of 10, and he calls her a coward, and DM Bellator goes God mode. My girl is levitating in the air with light and shadows, and like so much magic explodes from her body. Like, she is magic. That is how I described reading that scene. He's trying to contain her magic, and through all of the light, she sees 1,000 souls. One of them she notices like crinkly gray eyes, and she's looking and she's like, "I know this person." And it's like he's smiling, but she can't really make out a face. And I think that's her father. What do we think? Prediction? The magic stops. She collapses to the ground. Luther is like on cloud 9. He is laughing. He is like, "Oh my God, how did that feel? Like, I don't know how you kept that all in." But she has this realization that yes, in fact, DM Bellator is descended. She will live basically forever, and her entire family will die within this lifetime. And she is like so empty. And I also think it is also paired with the anger, like that's been filling her for so long, that without it, she's just like an empty barrel. She looks at Luther completely empty, and she's like, "I'll accept House Corbois as my family house." She walks away up the stairs to her bed and just breaks down. I just can't imagine that realization. And I think that she's like suspected that she's been descended for a longer time, but she's known what the cost would be if she actually was descended, and now the reality is like unveiling itself, and it's just too much to handle. The next morning she has a knock on the door, and it's Luther, and he's brought her like a full plate of food, and I'm like, yes, take care of your girl. And she has no bite in her. Like, normally she would be like taking the piss out of him, but she's like so empty after the realization that she's descended. And he's like, "We have some things to talk about about your mother." And he's like, "You need to tell me what you know first." And at the end of the day, she doesn't know shit. And he's like, "I can't tell you anything. Like, you're gonna hate me for this, but like, I can't tell you anything because I won't break a promise." And he says, "I will accept whatever punishment you give. Lash me, throw me in the dungeon, banish me from the family, exile me if you must, but I made a promise, and I keep my promises, my queen, whatever the cost." And she like wants to be mad, right? But at the end of the day, the night before, while she was crying after her magic was released, she looked at him and she was like, "You need to promise me, no matter what happens to me, that you'll take care of my family." So if he would have broken the promise that he made to her mother immediately then the promise he made the night before would have been null and void. So she can't really be mad at him. If anything, like, she's grateful for that. But he does reveal that there was no actual deal between Aurelia and Luther. It was more of like a placeholder in case anybody came asking questions. And he uncovered that she was spying, but he let it slide because what they were doing was more important. And I think it has to do with saving children. As he's leaving, he does say to her, though, if she's not back by the end of the year, I will go get her myself, because she is somewhere that mortals can't go. And Luther was the only one that could get her there. I don't get it. This is also exciting. But he said at the end of the year, which is in 2 months, but at the end of Spark of the Everflame, in the epilogue, it said Aurelia Bellator will be home in 30 days. I cannot wait for that reunion. And I feel like DM is going to be so happy, but so mad. Without a doubt, though, Aurelia knew she was descended, but she protected her because she was a half mortal child, half descended, so she would have been killed. But then maybe they're not smuggling out kids. I don't know what they're doing. What's happening to the kids? If he's denying having anything to do with the deaths of the mortal descended children, where are they going? I need to know. We're back with Eleanor, and we're getting a lot of insight into the cousins of the court. DM is in her head like, how am I going to tell my dad and Henry that I'm going to be the Queen of Lumnos? We learn that Eamon is a gossip queen, and he knows everybody's secrets, and he might be good to tell them to, but he also will tell other people. So you can't really trust him. But the men hate him because he steals all the women. I think he's gross though. I think he's slimy. He would do nothing for me. He's also blonde. And Aemon also has weak magic, so that's interesting. Now his brother Taryn is the complete opposite of him. Everybody loves him. He's got strong magic, but he has no want for like any title. Lily's a sweetheart, but she's naive of the fact that she's the only princess, and she will be basically sold off once she's of age to the highest bidder. Alex is super ambitious. She comes from a military family, but she would rather earn her place within House Courbois than scheme for it. And Luther is so consumed by duty that everything else about him is put on the back burner. But she's like, I've seen these glimpses, and I think she's seen more glimpses of the real Luther than anybody else in House Courbois. Diem also says something super interesting, because she's like, by becoming queen, it's almost like she's gotten chains on her wrists. But for Luther not becoming king, it's like his chains have been released. Interesting. I liked that. I liked that imagery. Eleanor's also gagged that she's the only advisor because she thought Aemon and Luther also were. And Diem says one of my favorite quotes, and she says, "They want us to feel small, Eleanor. They want us to be quiet, be predictable, be unimportant, behave. Then they make us think we deserve it. But I think they're just terrified we'll stop listening to them and start listening to each other. And do you know why they're so scared of women like us? Because they damn well should be. Hell yeah. Sisterhood. Girlhood. More women in power. That is what we're talking about. Fuck the patriarchy." And Sore snaps her teeth in like almost agreement. And I was like, girlhood. It runs interspecially. We're all just girls trying to figure it out. Diem is also like crazy good at playing court, which I'm not shocked about, but I'm definitely glad she is. So she runs into Remus, who is King Regent and Luther's father, and they're playing, you know, the game. They're going back and forth, hit for hit. And Diem's like, well, if you're King Regent, and he's like, well, if you reign. And I'm like, but they're saying it through smiles, and that's like the most insane type of conversation. Even in real life, when you watch two people that are like going for each other's throats with a smile, so spooky. But Remus says, it isn't the Corvus name alone that wields such influence. It's the depth of our relationships across all 9 realms, the many enemies one stands to make if one dares to cross us. And she's like, well, thank goodness I have your counsel, King Regent. And I was like, yes, Diem. Like, bite, but then know when to take the paw off, you know? Oh, she's so smart. I love her. She's just so good at playing the game. And she's like, this ain't checkers, this is chess, and this is a long game. Because I want to be queen, and I'm going to help the mortals and the descended. Because there's also descended that are weaker with their magic that also need taken care of. And I'm like, that is why I love you, Diem, because you care about all people. At the end of the day, she's a healer. Also, the funniest thing is when she's like going into this one door and somebody's like, that's the servant quarters. And she's like, a queen must know every corner of her castle. That made me absolutely howl. Like, she was like, she didn't skip a beat. She said yes and. But as she's walking, she hears the servants absolutely talking shit. And she's like, this is not a conversation I need to have today. She dodges the servants, opens a door, turns around, and bumps right into Henry. Go away. Why is he in the palace? I know he's part of the Guardians and they have like a map, but like, I hate him, and I have a feeling it's just gonna get worse. So far, Glow of the Everflame is a 10 out of 10 for me. I love that it started off where we ended. I love the relationships that are growing. I love the introduction of new characters. I love that we absolutely bit off immediately into the palace, and now we're gonna see what Henry has to say about it, and I have a feeling it is not gonna be good. Now, for our boyfriend of the week, no surprise here, it is Prince Luther. Sexy man. I love him so much, and I would be shocked if throughout the series there was another book boyfriend. Our power scale starts with Aemon. He is a new introduction, and though he may not be strong with magic, he knows how to play the game. Then we have Eleanor, because she is the only advisor to Queen Diem Bellator, and she knows the gossip and she knows how to get the job done. Then we have Luther, because he was supposed to be the king, and he is all powerful. And then of course we have Diem, because she finally let her magic out. She is like god tier magic, and she is the queen of Lumnos. Our spice meter this week is a 0, because there was nothing spicy. This was a bell pepper. rating, unfortunately. Hopefully we get like a good kiss coming up soon. And our tension meter is a 2 because I just think there's like the pot is always bubbling with Luther and Diem, and I eat it up every second, every page. Our quote of the week was by Miss Diem Bellator, and she said, "They want us to feel small, Eleanor. They want us to be quiet, be predictable, be unimportant, behave. Then they make us think we deserve it. But I think they're just terrified we'll stop listening to them and start listening to each other. And do you know why they're so scared of women like us? Because they damn well should be." I love her. Now, everybody's favorite segment of the week, would I survive the first 10 chapters of Glow of the Everflame? Chapter 1, yes, I would survive the realization that I am the new queen of Lumnos. Chapter 2, yes, I would survive riding on horseback with Prince Luther. Yeah, I'd survive that. Yes, I would survive being magically bonded to Sore, the most gorgeous magical creature. Chapter 4, yes, I would survive meeting the family, although I probably would change my clothes and have a bath. Yeah. Chapter 5, no, I would not survive Luther's attack. I think he would kill me. And I'd also, in turn, kill those guards, because why weren't you protecting me? Chapter 6, yes, I would survive getting wine drunk with my new bestie. Chapter 7, yes, I would survive going for a walk with Slimeball Eamon. Chapter 8, no, I would not survive my body absolutely exploding with magic. I think the impact would kill me. Chapter 9, yes, I would survive a little breakfast date with Luther. I'd enjoy it, actually. And chapter 10, yes, I would survive Gossip Hour with Eleanor round 2 and going toe-to-toe with Luther's dad. I might not be strong like Diem, but I am also quick with words. So yes, I would survive. For next week, please read chapters 11 to 22 of Glow of the Everflame. I cannot wait to see what comes next. I'm literally about to turn this camera off and start reading because I'm so excited. I hope you're loving it as much as I am. What do we think about Eamon? Do you also think he's a bit of a slime ball? Because I for sure do. And also let me know in the comments how you think Henry's gonna react to finding out that Diem Bellator is the new Queen of Lumnos. Make sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube. Hit that bell so you never miss a video, and follow us at Lore Book Club on Instagram and TikTok, where I post funny little videos every single day. I am absolutely so excited for next week, and I hope you are too. Love you guys. Happy reading.